when we try to play God, that's when we get in trouble.
Leo, how did you find Carnivore?
Good afternoon, Dave and everybody. Um, Basically, um, what happened is that I was getting sick and getting sicker. I had diabetes, I have high triglycerides and high blood pressure. And basically, on 2020, the doctor told me, you're going to go on insulin. And basically, I didn't really want to go on insulin because my mom had been insulin dependent for 50 years. And I see her belly all the time, especially now that she need a lot of help from me. So it's all black, and from the insulin, and I'm like, I don't want to live the a life having to do insulin. So I started going and looking in the net. I found a book from, I cannot remember the author, but it's diabetes is curable, or Kuzmin, or I cannot remember exactly the name. And then I find out that they have a like a cleaning process, that you go to their farm, their rooms over there, or a farm, that you stay 21 days over there, and they do a cleaning of your body, detox, and all of this. And it's with a lot of greens and stuff. And I was ready to just go ahead and pay for to go to try to get diabetes cured. For an act of God, when I made the decision, because it was about $8,000. When I made the decision of just go ahead and do it, when I called, they were sold out, and there was no more space to get in. So I was a little bit frustrated. Then talking to a friend, she recommended me to talk to another doctor, that it's a Venezuelan doctor. Um, I cannot remember his name right now. So I went even to Mexico to see him, because that's where he has his practice. And he basically introduced me to paleo. And I started paleo for a little bit, and I didn't see any improvement or anything. So I kind of stopped. I dropped it. I didn't keep going. I was again very sad, because I didn't. I couldn't find a way to cure my diabetes. And for an act of God, again, for second time in my life, I just go ahead and stumble on a YouTube video from Dr. Jason Fung. And Dr. Jason Fung talk about intermediate fasting. He has a book about diabetic code, or diabetic diet codes. And I was heavy. I was over 300 pounds, well over 300 pounds. And so I start immediately reading, listening. I bought the book, and I listened on the audiobook. And I started. And just by fasting and low carb, I began feeling, in about 2 weeks, I felt a little bit better. I saw my sugar uh, going down, and kept listening to him. And he doesn't go and tell you keto or carnivore or anything, but he talk about low carb, high fat, medium protein. So I started investigating about that, and I stumbled on Dr. Annette Bothworth and Dr. Boss. And I started listening to her videos, and on YouTube, and learning more and more and more. And I said, "Oh my God, this is the way that I need to go." So I started keto. And then when I was on keto, and I saw tremendous improvement on my health, triglycerides that they were at 689, which it was outrageously crazy, taking medicine and still couldn't control it. In less than 90 days, I went ahead and I dropped it to 109. And weight, I began going and dropping weight in a speed that I kind of even worry a little bit. But I was feeling better. I I had always have not always, but because I was in the military in my country in Venezuela, I had my knees that they were really shot because of the training. I had three hernias in my back, and then some days I couldn't really walk really good, or my back it was killing me. And I started in that 90 days, 120 days. I kind of didn't have any pain on my knees, any pain on my back. And one thing run to another, and I don't even know exactly how, but I hear about this carnivore, and I start listening to doctors, Ken Berry, so Sean Baker. I bought the book from Ken Berry about Lies My Doctor Told Me, and I actually hear the book on audiobook. I fell in love. I kept going and going and going, and I became basically 98%. That's why I tell my people 98%, 97% carnivore. And my God, I mean, it's whatever it was that still was kind of in the gray area, it became completely on the black. I mean, perfect. I felt much better. I always have had the farm, but some days when I was working, I felt like I had lack of energy. When I began keto and eating high fat, low protein, basically non carbs or really low carbs. And when I went to carnivore, I felt like I had energy to keep going, to keep going, and to keep going. Even during the summer, which in Florida, humidity and temperature are very high. And I was able to bear much better than before. So I got completely sold in that. Now, when I was during the COVID, what happened is that I was eating meat at that point already, but I had the farm. We were basically slaughtering a couple steers a year uh, for my family consumption only. Everything else, I took it, all the calves, I took it to the market. But during COVID, when I excuse me, back up a little bit. When I slaughtered my animals before COVID, I always had friends, and I give a piece of beef to one to another, and they love it. And they go, "Oh my God, the taste of this beef is much better than what I find in the store." But I never thought about going and doing anything with that because of the entrance barrier that you have to just go ahead and work with USDA, find a slaughterhouse that is USDA certified, the label, and all of this. So I thought that it was, even though I have been in the food industry before because I used to own a dairy and a cheese manufacturing in a plant in Orlando, but you know beef and fish, I knew that the stakes for not certification to be inspected and all of this, and USDA was way more than dairy. So I never thought about getting into. But during COVID, I had to kill more of my animals, and a lot of friends began, Leo, I'd buy you, sell me the beef. And I'm like, I cannot sell it to you. I have to give it to you because I don't want to get in trouble. It's the same thing with the hogs. Everybody that tried my hog, the meat from my hogs, they were in love. We used to do sausages. My dad is Italian. I mean, I'm full blood Italian. So we had the recipe of my grandfather and my grandmother and great great grandmother. So my dad used to do the sausages, and everybody was in love with the sausages. And they were, you sell me. I don't care. I pay whatever you want. Sell me. And I was, no, I can't. I give it to you. But it got to the point that it was way too many people, especially during COVID, that they were begging because, hey, we cannot find it. You help us out. Go ahead. So I help a couple families and stuff like that. And I started investigating. What is that I need to do? Where is the closest slaughterhouse? And I found a slaughterhouse in Vero Beach, and I established a relationship with Jeff and started slaughtering my animals over there and slowly sell some of the meat. Then we created the brand because my brand is made out of a symbol that is the heart symbol that is Sankofa, that it's a ancient African symbol that it says take control or don't be afraid to take control. And that because I took control of my health, and that's why I went ahead and I looked to that symbol and I said that's the perfect symbol. Then the animals because of the farm, the leaves because of nature, and so I put together a brand. I call it our ancestors' foods because I remember when I was living in Italy with my grandmother, and she always told me when I was a kid, eat food as close to as nature intend, as nature created. Try to avoid all of what the human beings just go ahead and put up in the food just to make it taste better or to last longer and stuff like that. And I'm talking 45, 50 years ago. That what my grandmother was saying that. So when I was looking for the name for the farm for the brand, I said, I'm gonna do it on my grandma. Remember on memories of my grandma, and we brainstormed a couple names, and then it came out. My grandma was my ancestor, so I said our ancestor foods, how they used to eat, and that's how it came out. Our ancestor foods. The farm, as I said, I had it before. But then when I started the more into the carnivore after COVID, I began looking into. Uh, I always have been doing rotational grazing for my cattle because we used to do it also in Venezuela. I'm talking 50, 60 years ago. My dad used to do that. They had big pieces of land and then divided in pieces, and then they just go ahead. They didn't rotate every day or every week, but like every couple of months. So I knew the concept, and I did it with few cows, did it with a few plots, and I went ahead and I basically cut the grains out of the animal, all the vaccines, antibiotics, everything out because I was going to be consuming that meat. When I was fattening my steers for my family, that's what I used to do. I did not, when I choose a couple steers, little calves, and I cut them, and they say, "Oh, these are going to be for slaughtering for the family." At that point, we cut all the vaccines and cut all the antibiotics and everything. So when I decided to start producing for other people, I went ahead and I said, I don't know what piece in which one I cannot have in the freezer separation of my meat and the meat that I'm going to sell. So I went ahead and I said, okay, I'm going to do everything the same way. And that's how we are doing it. And we have been doing it for the last 4 years now, 3.5, 4 years.
Nice. And so rotating cattle, how much space do you need to be able to do that, and how has that impacted the land?
Actually, The impact on the land, it's really beneficial, because what happened is that what you are doing is that you are creating plots, and you are allowing the grass to rest. I don't know if you saw the pictures that we share with you on our and Jennifer, Scott partner, when they came to the farm. That was in December, and if you see the picture, the grass during the winter, it was at our waist, so it was pretty high. So we basically cut on fertilizers, because what happened is that the fertilizer machine is their own cow, because when we put it on that pasture, they just go ahead and eat, and they poop and pee wherever they are. And they are spreading that manure, that urine, and that's the best uh, fertilizer for the grounds. Also, whatever they don't eat and they step on, basically what it's creating is killing some of the grass. That grass basically decompose naturally and become food for, or fertilizer for, the new shoots of grass. So, and not just that, the benefit is that we don't have to chase cows. What we do is we open a gate, and when they see, oh my God, he's opening the gate, that pasture is green, they see it's lush, they just want to go. And sometimes you need to get out of their way, because if not, they're going to stomp on you.
So it's almost no effort, right? Because it's just a natural process. It's just like,
Yes.
oh, the land's better over there. Let's go over there and eat.
Yes, and that mimic nature, because what happened is that when the buffaloes went around free in United States, what happened is that they were moving every day to new pastures, new where they find the new grasses. Also, the predators will push them, and then when they just go ahead and run because of a predator, what they were doing is going ahead and with their hooves, they were tilling the land. They were stamping on the grass, not allowing the grass to get so mature that it will decay, basically dry out and decay right there where it is standing. It goes on the ground when they step on, especially when you have a big herd. Okay, and then that will start the decomposition of that matter, creating organic matter. So any of the sandy soils, and that we have in Florida, after a couple years of being and doing rotational and letting the cows take care of the tilling of the land, sandy soil will start creating organic matter, and you can see that it's gonna start, the sand is gonna be mixing with a little bit of really black, beautiful dirt. You have activity, microbial activity. So you are enhancing the microbial, you are enhancing the fungi activity. So you are creating really a ecosystem of micro individuals, that they are the way that nature go ahead and take care of the process of decomposition and fertilize of the land. You know, 500 years ago, not 500, even less, 150 years ago, there was no chemical fertilizer, and still, our ancestors went ahead and were able to just go ahead and cultivate the land. They did, rotational crops. They did not go ahead and produce corn, for example. I'm just using corn every year for 20 years in the road, because what happened is that at one point, the you're going to deplete, because not all the plants absorb the nutrients in the same ratio. Okay, so what happened is that one plant, and I'm gonna use a sample, use more calcium than another. So if we keep using that, uh, keep planting that plant that use more calcium than something else, what happens is that we are going to deplete the soil of calcium. And that happens with all the nutrients. Not only, I'm using calcium as an example. So that's why at one point we had to start using chemical fertilizers. And that's why we, even before I started all of this, I had to just go ahead and do a soil test and then go to the University of Florida, and they would tell me, oh, you are low on potassium. And then I had to just go ahead and adjust potassium by putting any of the chemical fertilizer and potash or whatever I had to adjust it to. It's the same thing with the acidity. Then, oh, let's put lime, let's do this. When you start doing it and letting nature take care of it, natures know how to fix itself. We do not need to help nature. Nature was created by our God, and he was smarter. I mean, he was, he knew what he needed to do, and he created nature, or give the power to nature to regenerate. If we go, even into Mexico, and we see the ancient Indian buildings, or they had to excavate it because nature went over and covered it and created soil on top of rock. So, when we try to play God, that's when we get in trouble.
You've been doing this for a few years. Is the popularity of this kind of meat growing? Do you find you're getting more and more customers, and people are actually recognizing that this is better quality, and this is the way that we should be raising cattle?
Yes, it's a trend of a lot of small farmers, and some that you have like Gabe Brown. I cannot remember his company name, but he have proof in many ways that when you use this method and allow nature to take care, even in places where you have low quantity of rain, not that many inches per year of rain, two farms just separate by a fence, you see a tremendous difference, because when you allow organic material and the soil to be alive, it's going to retain moisture, is going to create new nutrients. So it's going to, and a lot of people, when you are regenerating a piece of land, a lot of people see weeds as their enemies. You have to understand that basically weeds are there because nature is trying to solve the issue. If you have a soil that it's really compacted, okay, then nature put weeds that they have long roots, strong roots, like roots that have like I cannot. Dandelion is one, for example, that it go ahead and go a deep root, and then what it happens is absorbing all the nutrients from deep, and then bring it to the last couple inches of the soil, and also in that process it opens break the soil and allow it for oxygen to get in so life can thrive over there. So weeds, when we see weeds, you need to see them as nature trying to fix a problem that that piece of land or soil has. After you fix it, or help fixing the land, then that's when you can really harvest the all the potential of that soil.
Well, that's interesting. As someone who, had a pretty big garden back in Australia, weeds were always my enemy, but weeds were there for a purpose. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they have a
Mm,
purpose in nature too. Um,
mm.
it's a It's as I said, our creator thought about everything that need to be done because we are only one kind of animal. uh, we have so many, and each one of the predators, the prey, the insects, every single one of them play a role in the ecosystem, and we need to understand that. And the problem is that us as a human beings, we are creating so many problems to the ecosystem because our population have exploded, and that's why we are talking about food, how we're going to produce food. We need to an agricultural also agricultural revolution, and when the invention of agriculture created a lot of problems too, because what happened is that now people had food on their hands basically without have to do too much of an effort. In ancient cultures, to have grain, they if they didn't have water, they didn't. Now you go ahead and you have irrigation, and even in the places where rain it's not that prominent, we still can grow plants that in the past, you know uh, it was not going to be that way.
So one of the comments I hear most from detractors of regenerative farming is, well, you can't scale this. So what would you say to that when people say, "Oh yeah, sounds nice, but you can't scale it"? Like, what's the kind of your answer or the solution to this?
I honestly, when somebody just go ahead and say that, is give me enough amount of money to buy land, and I will prove you wrong. Because if you take a piece of land, I'm gonna use 100 acres because that's what we have here, and then you just go ahead and put, I will use a number, 50 cows over there, okay, or 40 cows, and it's only one big piece. The animals are going to go first and find the best palatable forage, and they're going to eat it over there. And then after that, they're going to go and find the other one that it's okay, but now they're hungry, they need to eat it. And they go like that. All the sudden, they're eating basically everything, and you are overgrazing the land. Now, when you just go ahead and open a pasture, especially you should have, and you need to understand a little bit also of animal behavior. If you create a plot where they go in and they don't have the time and to think about, they just go ahead and get there and they see the green, they immediately put their head down and begin eating over there. So by the end of the day, or by the end of the the grazing period that you have established, all of that plot is basically going to be the grass or the forage is going to be harvested by the gut machine, almost uniform. Now you take these animals out of over there and you let nature take care of, so resting the grass, and the grass is going to come back again really good with new shoots and all of this. Uh, and you can actually graze more animals per acre when you are rotating than when you are not rotating.
Just as you're talking there as well, it seems to make more like it seems to make more sense than I may originally have thought, because of course it should be easier to scale because you're working with nature, not against it.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
And if you can leave 3 weeks of resting time for grass, is the minimum that you would like to do that, and it depends also on the forage. I mean, I'm talking grass because I'm in Florida, and normally we talk is grass, but you have some other forages that you can that cows can. But if you allow the right resting time for the forage, you're going to produce more tonnage per acre than if you just harvest, all up and overgraze it, or take it to basically to a height of the forage that it takes a lot of time to get back, because remember it's energy over there. And majority, if you allow some grasses, you need to take the animals out when they are 6 inches. Some other grasses you can take it to 4 inches, but each forage, it has a measurement in which is the maximum height that you can allow the cows, or the because this work for sheep, goat, and any basically herbivore. Um, at that point, at that high, you need to take the animal out of the plot, because if not, you are going to create more damage than, you say, oh, I'm leaving a lot of grass or a lot of forage over there, so many tons of forage over there, but you're not thinking that the plant, that forage plant, need energy to go ahead and reshoot. And if you take it to a point in which you have going below the threshold point, what happens is that it's going to come back, but you are going to have many problems. It's going to be taking longer. It's going to Nature is going to see, oh my God, this land is basically a bare, or close to be bare, overgrazed. So let me put some weeds over there. So, you're going to start having a lot of problems, versus when you mimic nature, you are going to have less problems, and you are going to produce more tonnage per acre than if you overgraze, or you cut it to a point that the plant is going to take longer to recoup.
Leo, you mentioned before that at the start of this journey, you were over 300 pounds. So, being carnivore, eating this high quality meat, what has changed for you in regards to your weight and overall health?
I just lost a little bit of weight. I lost 110 pounds. Yes.
Wow.
And I would tell this to a lot of people that say, oh yeah, that's you regain it. Of course, if you play the cheating game, you're gonna regain it. But I will tell you, and I have a lot of friends of mine and my wife and that can just go ahead and testimony this. I eat like a madman. I eat once a day. I do a lot of fasting, but I can eat 2 pounds of meat in one seat. But and I eat a lot of fat. My weight can go a little bit up, can go down. It varies. It's not that every day it's the same weight, but it goes up and down, but it stay basically pretty close. And listening to Dr. Kilth, Robert Kilth, he got me into, because at the beginning I was keeping track. I have the app on my chronogram, or chrono something, and then I kept track of my weight, my blood pressure, my blood sugar, my ketones, and all of that. And then listening to him, I just go. He said, "Don't measure it. If you feel good, leave that alone. Because if you are doing the right thing, and you need to be conscious, if you know that you are doing the right thing and you are eating like you are supposed to eat, don't worry about the numbers. The numbers are going to take care of themselves, and they're going to get to the point in which they're going to be normal, or they're going to be where it need to be." A lot of people are concerned about cholesterol, and it's as soon as I tell somebody, "Oh, I eat only meat," okay, and fatty meat, they, oh my God, you're going to kill yourself. Your cholesterol have to be high. And my answer is, who cares about where my cholesterol is? Just go ahead and don't listen to the old school doctors that they do not want to basically admit or learn or get updated. Okay, that hey, we were all lie by Ansel Keith and some of the people that they were just looking for getting themselves or money or fame or something. They were behind something. And then now it's like everybody think that cholesterol is the bad enemy when cholesterol it has is it's a place in the body, you know. So don't mess with something that you don't need to mess. Let nature, again, let nature take care of itself. Your body, okay, knows how to fix any problem that you have as long as you help the body doing the right thing. Not far, I not long ago, I mean, talking about a year or 2 years ago, we hear about autophagy. If you fire autophagy, basically you're cleaning or helping your body to, instead of use chemical medicines, okay, or pharmaceuticals, let the body take care. And it's nature. It's natural. You don't need to take anything. Just do what you have to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean that goes along with the whole discussion, whether it's about farming or our body. Just be natural. Let nature take its course, right?
Yes, nature know how to fix itself. And if you allow it, it will fix it. Now, if you want to, like I have some people, because I help a lot of people for free. I mean, I just go ahead and I give them, I'm not a doctor, I'm a mechanical engineer, but because of my problem, my health problem, in which it was some days I couldn't even get up of bed because of my back or my knees. And because of that, I have had to read so much and educate myself, and not just read, because a lot of people tell me, oh, just because it says on a book or just because one doctor says that, that doesn't mean that it's true. And I say, yes, that's why you believe the doctor that is telling you that is not true. When what I did was try it on my own body. So I went ahead and I was skeptical at the beginning. How am I going to fast for 72 hours? Or how am I going to fast for 5 days? And I was like, I don't know if I would be able to do it. When I tried and I went ahead and I did it, it's not a big deal. I actually feel better when I'm at 72 hours fasting than when I'm eating once a day. You know, your brain work much better. And I always will refer to Dr. Jason Fung, that he said on his YouTubes and everything. You know, if you are an artist and you went to nature and pick a really beautiful piece of wood and you carve, a beautiful sculpture. Now when winter come and you are cold, you're not gonna take that piece of wood that it took you time and effort and just put it on the fire. That's to burn, just to go ahead and get you a little bit warm. That's what, when I tell people, hey, no, your body's gonna, if you do 5 days or 7 days, your body's gonna consume your own muscles. And I'm like, God was not dumb. you know how people in 1,000 years ago, they didn't go to the grocery every day and find 5 pounds of beef. They had to hunt it. And at that point, even with guns, how many times a hunter shoot a deer and misses? Okay, so imagine with an arrow. Imagine when they didn't even have an arrow. They did had to go days without eating. A lion is not successful every time that a lioness that chase a gazelle, and they have to go days without eating. So why, if in nature animals that they are very close to us can do it, and we cannot do it being an animal? Because a lot of people, when I tell you are an animal, they think that I'm trying to offend them. I'm like, no, you are an animal. So see what nature is doing with your lone brothers and sisters or cousins, meaning a tiger, meaning another predator, a lion, and mimic that. Oh my God, a snake, okay, eat a big rat, and then it doesn't eat for a week or two. And not always they're going to find the rat. They cannot go to the supermarket and say, oh, I want a rat. And I want one today in the morning, I want one at lunch, and I want one at dinner. They cannot do that. So if nature, all other beings can do that, why we are so different? Why God made us so different that we cannot stand 2 days, 3 days, a week? You know, I I couldn't believe it that it's people. I haven't done it, and uh, I don't say that I cannot do it, but it's people that have. I don't recall the longest fast, but it's almost a year or something like that. People that, or one person or two people, whatever it is, that they have last, in that's an extreme. Okay, I'm not suggesting that we need to do that. Even more than a week, I feel like it's, you know, let's rethink about. But a week, your body is not going to consume your muscles, is not going to consume your organs, is going to take care and go ahead and grab all the fat that it's storage in your body anywhere in your body and use it to burn for energy. That's why we have fat in our body. And I love when Dr. Kills just go ahead and say, and some other doctors, of course, say, hey, fat is not your enemy. Sugar is your enemy. Grains are your enemy. Why you give grains to a cow to marble? So you are creating fat for them. That's why grains then, when a human being eat it, is not gonna do the same that it does to a cow. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that people don't see that parallel, if you eat like a cow, you're gonna look like a cow, right?
Yes, I mean, if you and again, if you just go ahead and say I'm carnivore, but I'm part-time carnivore because I do carnivore from Monday to Friday, and then Saturdays I eat pizza, I go ahead and I get my Coke, and I drink, and I do this and I do that. Don't come later and say, oh, carnivore, it doesn't work. Because a lot of people, or keto, even keto, I do dori keto. What is dori keto? I mean, that's basically, I don't even want to say it because I will probably sound vulgar, but don't play that kind of game. If you want to take control of your life, take control of your health, be honest with yourself. You don't have to be honest with your wife, with your partner, with your doctor. Be honest with yourself. And if you're honest with yourself, then you can later on say, oh, this worked or it didn't work. But don't just go ahead and do halfway something, okay, and then go ahead and say, oh, it didn't work. Hey, hold on. It didn't work because you didn't do it in the right way. Go ahead and take it and be honest with yourself. Do it in the right way. And if you do it in the right way, and because I'm not going to say that every single human being is going to be benefiting in the same way because each individual is different, even though we're really close on DNA, but that doesn't mean that we are exactly the same. So it might be that something that I do is not going to work for somebody else. But at least if I did it in the right way and it didn't work, I can say, hey, it didn't work for me because of this, this, and this, and this. And then I will accept that. But to be honest with you, I haven't seen anybody that has followed um, my advice when they go and ask me and have not lose weight, have not get better, have not get better numbers on their blood. So now when they just go ahead and tell me, oh, this weekend I was doing really good, but this weekend I had a couple drinks. Okay, now you're gonna see your blood pressure probably going up again because the blood volume in your vessels is gonna change. You're gonna have more water in. So do not blame it on you. And the problem is that a lot of people don't want to take responsibilities. They want to blame somebody else, something else, instead of saying, hey, this is not happening because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. It's easy to blame anybody, but instead of blaming anybody, just go ahead and do the right thing. And if it doesn't work, then you can, you can say it didn't work because I did all the right things and it didn't work. But I'm tired of these people that just go ahead and say, oh, it didn't work for me. Okay, for how long you did it? Oh, I did it for a week. uh, or I did it, and then but on the weekends I eat pizza because I love pizza and I cannot. Or I do it, but I need the chocolate. Okay, then don't blame it. Don't say that it didn't work.
So, Leo, if people want to get in contact, perhaps want to order from you, what is the best way that they can get in contact?
They can just go to our website that is our ancestor foods, all in plural.com. And they will see over there, they can read my story. They can read about our logo. As I said before at the beginning, each part of the logo has a meaning. And uh, and if they have any question, or if they have any group of people that they get together and they wanted to get somebody to go and talk to them about keto or carnivore, because again, as Dr. Kill say, keto is the start, and then people that see the results on keto or low carb, then they tend to move like I did. Is basically the graduation. It's I will go, and again, it's totally free. I don't charge anybody any money for any help. If somebody wants to call me, my cell phone number is 321-277-2055, and they can call me and we can chat about how can I help them to achieve taking control back of their health. And it's totally free. Now, buying the product, yeah, that's not free because it's a lot of work and a lot of cost. A lot of people also, and let me touch on that. A lot of people just go ahead and say, "Hey, why grass fed is more expensive than grain fed?" I will tell you this: when a calf is born from basically the same cow, but one take 13 months to get to a 1,200 pounds, meaning slaughter weight. and the other one take 24 to 28 months, I have a lot more input into that animal. And not just that, a lot of more risk. Because if I'm not using antibiotic, when that animal gets sick, if it cannot cure by itself, it's going to die. On a normal animal or grain-fed animal or cattle operation, they will pump antibiotic to a point in which that cow is not going to die, but it's going to be, I'm sorry for the term, a zombie cow. It's still alive, but it's basically pump out of antibiotics and all kind of medicines, you know, just even painkillers, because you have some animals that they, in a slaughterhouse, if the animal that is USDA, if the animal cannot get through their own means, meaning that they can walk into the chute, they are not to be USDA certified. My God, I mean, a lot of people don't know, but you know how many animals they have an issue, an injury, and then they pump it with in painkillers and stuff like that, so the animal basically can walk. It doesn't matter if it's limping, but it works. And it's legalities, and it's that, but that happens. I know that I'm not supposed to say it, but that happens. I mean, when I was in the dairy, you see some animals going into the slaughter that, you know, yeah, they're gonna go for hamburger, but still.
I'll include links below to your website. And Leo, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and this valuable information with us. I really appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the opportunity that you give me to go in front of your audience. And as I said, if anybody has any question or anything, please just go ahead and get in touch. On the web page is my phone number, is my email. Um, you can just go ahead and get in touch with me, and I will be more than happy to help as much as I can.